In this short screencast, I'm going to quickly show you how to append or prepend notes into Evernote using drafts. Now, I use this to collect a running list of book recommendations and article recommendations, which, being a student, it seems that I am always getting those. So if we open up drafts, we see we're introduced with a nice clean interface, and at the top there's plenty of room to type, and then you have your keyboard with some actions that you can do. Now, the first thing we're going to do is, let's say you had the book On Christian Doctrine by Augustine recommended to you. So I'm just going to type this in here. And then if I hit the share button on the far right, you notice that I have many different options here. Now, in my third column, I have my Evernote actions, and I'm going to just click book recommendations. This is going to create text in a note that I have already created called book recommendations in Evernote, and also add the current date. I find adding the current date helpful to jog my memory sometimes when I forgot when that was recommended. So if I go to my recommendations notebook and I click on book recommendations, you can see that it was added there at the top. Now, how do you create one for yourself? So let's go back to the Drafts app. And if you click the share button on the far right, you'll see the little gear icon on the far right. Click that, and this is where we can create our actions. So if you scroll down, you see that there are a variety of custom actions, and we want to use one of the Evernote actions. So from here, click the plus sign in the top right, and let's say that we want to start a running list for audio recommendations for like lectures or podcasts and the like. So we're just going to name this audio recommendations. And the title, we're going to make the same thing. We want this to go in the notebook called recommendations. And previously, I thought that you had to actually go to Evernote and create the note in order to prepend or append files. But it's actually even easier, because if there's not a note already created called audio recommendations, it will create one and then prepend or append the text that you send to it from there. So I like to prepend the text. That way the text that I send over there is at the top. So the newest is always at the top. And you can do the send as Markdown HTML, which I like. I prefer writing in Markdown. You can look at the blog post to see a little bit more about Markdown. If you don't know Markdown or don't know what it is, and this is checked, then it will still work okay. But I prefer that if I want to add a link. It's easy to add a link using Markdown. So in the template, notice that it says draft. Draft is just all the text that you type that will be sent over to whatever app you choose, in this case, Evernote. But we're going to add another tag, and we're going to add the date. So if we scroll down and hit tag help, you will see that there are already a bunch of pre-made tags here that we can choose. I'm going to do the date with the year, month, date format. So just click copy, and then we're going to paste this over here, add a colon, and you are good to go. So if we click save, and let's go back to our settings, and I want to add it to the third column with my other Evernote actions. So I just scroll up a little bit and click manage actions, and from here I can move my actions from column to column. So just click audio recommendations, and then I'm going to click the third column here, and it will put it there. So let's type our note. Let's just do test for now. Click the share icon, third column, and click audio recommendations. And we should go to Evernote, and it will create a note called audio recommendations. Oh, and there we go. So we click on this, and notice it's right there. So let's go back, and let's add one more. We'll just say test 2. Add to audio recommendations again. And go back to Evernote, and it's there almost instantaneously. Well, I hope that helps your workflow in using Evernote. I love drafts. It's a nice little app to start any text and to send to other apps and services. And this is how I keep a running list of books and articles that are recommended to me. And I find that using drafts is the quickest way to get it into Evernote, instead of opening up Evernote, finding the note and adding it and typing in the date and everything else. Well, if you have any questions, feel free to visit my website and contact me there. And I hope this was helpful.